Welcome, NeSmith fans, to another NeSmith Race Report featuring all of the series that fall under the Crate Racing USA umbrella, to include the Rush Series up in the Northeast. Well, we had some wild weather come through the Southeast last night. If you're listening from outside the area, we had strong winds, hail, a lot of stuff went on last night. So, again, if you listened to In the Dirt last night, I was on the side of the road doing the show because I had no internet, and now I'm somewhere else. So, anyway, we're going to have the show. Hope everybody made it through the storms down here in the Southeast last night. We were without power at my home, as were many people in the Gadsden, Alabama area. But I know the Northeast was pelted with different sorts of weather, so hopefully everybody made it through. This past weekend, I was at East Alabama Motor Speedway. Got to take in the preseason weekly series race there for the NeSmith Weekly Series, brought to you by Old Man's Garage. We'll be talking about that later on the show, as we'll have Montana Dudley on to speak about his big win over the weekend. We're going to have Ellis join us. He also had a preseason win over the weekend at Magnolia Motor Speedway. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to be talking to Justin Tatlow, and I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly, but he is a late model pilot that's going to be participated in the, he's committed to participate in the Rush Touring Series. We kick off at the end of the month here. And our last guest for the evening will be Mr. Wayne Metter. He is a street stock victor at Why Not over the weekend. So we've got a full slate of guests coming up on this week's show. And now I will bring on Mr. Roby Helm.
Good evening, Webb, and good evening, NeSmith race fans. A big weekend of racing last weekend at NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series preseason action at several tracks across the country. Also action with the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. And down at Battleground Speedway in Highlands, Texas, Chris Holly, who was our guest last week, took his second win in a row on Saturday night. So we'll be looking for him to do some big things when the national points start for the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series, and that'll get underway in 2 weeks. And at Bubba Motorsports Park, they had their preseason opener, and Brian Bernhardt out of Clearwater, Florida, picked up the win at Bubba Raceway Park down in Ocala, Florida. They'll be a part of the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series in 2013. As Webb said, Montana Dudley, the big winner at the Jimmy Thomas Memorial at East Alabama Motor Speedway on Saturday night. Also on Saturday night, a new winner at Talladega Short Track at East Tioga, Alabama's Grant Pearl took the big win. Why Not Motorsports Park was in action. They had 28 NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models in the pit area, and J-Mac Justin McCree picked up the win. He had 3 wins on the national tour last year, had several Weekly Racing Series wins at Why Not Motorsports Park, so hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to him before the season starts and see what his plans are, if he's going to try to do the national tour, the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series, or both. In NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock action, they had 22 cars, and as Webb said, Wayne Metters took the win. A very close finish in that race. Just saw a picture of that, and Metter took the win by a half car length over Devin Nations, who was driving a car powered by a Chevrolet Performance 602 Steelhead crate engine. So there's going to be some good competition this year, I believe, in that NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. On Sunday at Magnolia Motor Speedway, they had 28 cars in the pits, and Evan Ellis out of Plantersville, Mississippi, picked up the win. And in the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division, Bill Sudduth took the win. His car was powered by a Chevrolet Performance 602 crate engine. So that's your results from preseason action from last weekend. Got more races coming up in preseason action this weekend, the final week to tune up before those national points start at Hattiesburg Motorsports Park. Going to be opening up on Friday night with a full slate of action with the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models. Then on Saturday night, Clay Hill Motorsports Park. They're going to have a big series of races, and we're going to be telling you more about that in the weeks to come. As we talked to Dale Nelson about that yesterday, and Jonathan Gowan, his PR director, and they're going to announce that, and we're going to have some information about that for you upcoming. And that involves out-of-state drivers as well, some bonuses for you. So be listening and checking out that. We'll also be having the story on that coming up on our website at www.NeSmithRacing.com on the Weekly Racing Series website. Also in action this coming Saturday night, Talladega Short Track will be back in action, and Why Not Motorsports Park will be in action with the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models and the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. That's this Saturday at Why Not Motorsports Park in Meridian, Mississippi. Some breaking news this week. Southern Raceway in Milton, Florida has signed on to be a part of the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series family of racetracks in 2013. They were involved with the series before, back in 2007. And it's good to have them back with us. A lot of good drivers down there. Frank Wilson out of Harold, Florida, who runs on the touring division. He is going to be a part of that. Also, he won the 2007 Southern region of the Weekly Racing Series. Also got Kevin Mayer down there. He's always been a top 10 contender in the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series point standings throughout the years. Tracy Sutton, he's always a big runner down there. So going to be some good action down at Southern Raceway in Milton, Florida, as they put together a 14-race season this year for the NeSmith Chevrolet Weekly Racing Series by Old Man's Garage down at for the late models at Southern Raceway. And some breaking news, it has just broken as we speak, just received confirmation on this. We now have a track in Alabama that is signed on with the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division for 2013, and that will be Moulton Speedway in Moulton, Alabama, as they will join Jackson Motor Speedway in Jackson, Mississippi, Why Not Motorsports Park in Meridian, Mississippi, Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi, and St. Tammany Raceway in Lacombe, Louisiana, as a part of the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. So we're excited to have them on board with us, and we'll have more information on that upcoming on our website at www.NeSmithRacing.com. So, Webb, some exciting news this week, some great racing action, and more action yet to come this weekend. And all through that, we went through the storm yesterday.
Well, it definitely was spring yesterday, and the trees, I have no clue. I have several trees in the yard, but they all were bent over in the shape of a pea yesterday. I have no clue how they didn't just fall. So hopefully everybody weathered the storm. What did you guys have up there, just real quick?
The ground was completely covered with pea-sized hail here, so that really did a lot on the tree limbs and knocked all the rest of the leaves off the trees, and had a lot of wind and stuff. So we just had some stuff blown around, small tree limbs around the yard and all that, but nothing big. Here in the East Tennessee area, from what I saw on the news, it looked like most of the damage was right there in your backyard.
We had, at the very least, had 70-mile-an-hour straight-line winds, and I'd seen a few carports crumpled up and some stuff. I hadn't been by Green Valley Speedway, which is just over the mountain from me, to see. I know they have a lot of metal buildings out there, but I hadn't seen anything, so hopefully in the racing world, nothing's happened, and hopefully everybody weathered it.
They had a lot of damage, I guess, in Anniston and Jacksonville area, too, so let's hope that everything's good at Talladega Short Track. And, I saw reports, people even in Greenville reporting a lot of hail up in Tupelo. So, I think it just covered the whole southeast, that front that came right down from the northwest to the southeast and eventually ended up down going through Florida.
Well, I'm glad to see spring finally get here. I've seen enough cold weather racing this year to last until next fall, so I'm extremely happy to see spring. Hopefully we won't have any more bad weather storms. You
think we can put the long handles away?
I wouldn't quite yet. Well, all right. Well, we got our first guest on the line. Let's go ahead and bring him to the program. Let's welcome Montana Dudley. He was victor at East Alabama Motor Speedway over the weekend. Montana, welcome to the program, brother.
How's it going, Webb?
Just hanging out on a Tuesday talking racing. You had very little trouble in the event Saturday night. I put the highlights up on, if you go to the Facebook page, the NeSmith Facebook page, you can see the highlights from the race. But you had very little trouble in Montana, except for that first lap. Larry kind of got a jump on you. Thankfully, for yourself, there was a caution there. So talk us through the event, start to finish. What kind of car did you have from the very beginning?
We knew right in time trials, when we busted off that, I think it was a 15-13 or something, but we knew we had a good car from the start, and it's just been hard work to get where we are now, but I think we finally got everything heading in the right direction.
Now, there was a lot of talk amongst Rick Eshelman was the announcer. He was off from the World Outlaws. He was telling me that they took all the dirt that was thrown off the corner and brought it back to the racetrack, and it kind of reshaped the racetrack because there's no berm or something anymore. How much different is the racing surface there now that they've done all that?
Well, they took the top away, which is good because the place is so fast. It's just wide open, for the whole race. And I think they actually moved us down, mid-track to the bottom. I think it's going to make for really, really good racing.
Is your plans to compete with us on the weekly level, or are you going to join us on the touring series? What is Montana's plans this year?
Well, we're going to hit a couple of touring events and just hit and miss these crate races throughout the year. And our budget, we can't afford to hit every single race and run for the points, but we're going to try to, when we get the money up, we're going to try to hit and miss on the tracks that we do like to go to.
Well, Montana, we know that you eat well when you're out racing. I mean, last year you had that Zaxby sponsorship on the car. Are they back with you this year?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Zaxby's is signed back up with us this year, and, hopefully that's something we can keep on going throughout the years. He's super good to me. David Young, he owns 5 of them, in our local area, and he's just been super good to me. It's been a blessing to get him.
Tim Sims will be your best friend. He loves Zaxby's chicken.
Yeah, he does, I'm sure. It's hard to find people that don't like Zaxby's.
Well, tell us about your equipment this year.
Well, we'll be running rocket chassis. It seems like we can't go wrong with them every track we go to. It's spot on. I mean, we bring the same car to every track, and we rarely ever change anything, and it's spot on. And we got Race Tech race engines this year, and I think they picked us up 4/10, to be honest with you. Their motors are real strong right now. So, and we got Clint Smith helping me with the setup package and the Integra shocks, and it seems like we just can't do nothing wrong.
Well, it seemed like last year you kind of got into the point battle there a little late in the year, but, I mean, you were coming on strong there at the end. Did that kind of give you an inkling of what the potential was for your race team as far as competing for that $10,000 NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series Championship?
We tried a couple of years ago, and I think we run top 10 in it. It's hard to, the way everything is, it's hard for me to run for any kind of points right now with our budget. But we do try. If we see any way impossible to run a points deal, we will.
And you got some tough competition down there. I mean, you got Joey Thomas and William Thomas when he drops into the late model division there at East Alabama Motor Speedway. Larry Harrod, he'll probably be dropping in a little bit this year. So, I mean, you really got some tough competition down there.
Yes, sir. Running at East Alabama, it's like running a touring event every weekend. These guys spend so much money down this way to keep their equipment top notch, and like you said, Larry Harrell, Joey, and I think we got little Jimmy Thomas moving up into the crate this year, and I'm sure he'll be quick. And like you said, it's real stiff competition down here.
You think you're going to be able to keep Chad Wallace in the flag stand, or you think you're going to be having to deal with him on the racetrack?
I hope we can keep him in the flag stand because I think he's a strong competitor, and when he shows up, I mean you can count him in on a top 5 finish.
Hey, Montana, Montana, I'll let you know a joke. It's not going to be an inside joke now, but make sure when you see Chad next time, say, hey, I saw the highlight. I saw you wreck that 5 car.
I did see. It looked like it was real close racing, and if I was just caught the bad end of the deal, and Chad was in the middle of it.
But from this point forward, it's Chad's fault, just so you know.
No, it's always Chad's fault, always.
I think you picked up the Kyle Larson driving style.
Yeah, I think you've been watching some YouTube videos on him or something, possibly.
But the only problem is Larson is usually going for the win, not for 6.
Oh,
that's bad.
I'm sorry, Chad. That's my bad, Chad. I'm sorry. Hey, so you got this guy Zach, this guy that owns the 5 Zaxby's. Does he see? Between what Roby does and the PR stuff and the video work that I do, does he know that when you race a NeSmith event that he's going to get his sponsor seen? Is he aware of all that?
I'm gonna try to bring him into it. He's new in the dirt car world. He's a big NASCAR fan, and he's new in the dirt car world. So I'm gonna try to bring him in and try to let him listen to the show we're on now and show him some of these videos you're doing and just try to get him more excited and more pumped about it.
I mean, because I'm trying to work the angle right now for I want one of those free chicken cars. You get one of those, right, when you're on Team Zaxby? Right.
Yeah, you do. You get a little a very small 1 to 10 scale model car.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we appreciate you joining us. What's on the horizon for the 55 car? What's the next race for y'all?
We're going to hit the Crate Nationals at Green Valley. I know they changed it to a 2-night show now, so hopefully we'll have good luck in both of them shows, and hopefully a couple of NeSmith tournament events later in the year.
Now, you know Green Valley has reconfigured the track once again.
Yeah, we went to the Bama Bash and we qualified on a pole, and Davenport ended up outrunning us in the first heat, but we were supposed to start 4th when the snow moved in on us, and kind of a crazy deal there.
What was the I wanted to talk. I haven't really talked to many guys who've got laps there, other than my buddy Kyle May. But how much different is the turn 2 now that you can't, kind of hang that right rear up on the ledge?
It's kind of everybody moved down. It's a little tighter racing, but I think it's going to be a lot safer once they get everything wrapped up and done. But I think it's going to be real good at Crate Nationals. Just having the majority of just late model cars on the track, I think it's going to be really good racing.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your Tuesday evening to give us a call. Before we let you get out of here, of course, I want you to thank the sponsors. Also, I want you to thank the crew members that helped get that double nickel in Victory Lane.
I want to just thank Rocket Chassis for giving us a real good chassis. Race Tech Motors for dependable, really fast motors, Integra shocks, Clint Smith Racing, and Zaxby's, TRZ, the Racing Zone in Phoenix City, and I really just need to thank my dad. My dad's hung in there from when I was 16. I'm 23, and he's just hanging in there with me, and hope we got a long time coming.
All right. Well, I appreciate you calling, like I said, and we'll see you down the highway, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Webb.
Montana Dudley, victor at East Alabama Motor Speedway weekend, the preseason race there for the Old Man's Garage Weekly Series.
He going to be a contender for that NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series title in the 40th anniversary season at East Alabama Motor Speedway, and the NeSmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series Touring Division going to be rolling into East Alabama Speedway for their annual 4th of July Spectacular. That's going to be 50 laps, $2,500 to win, and one of the best fireworks show that you'll see anywhere on July 4th at East Alabama Motor Speedway.
And I mean, we didn't have any break between the news and Montana, but I wanted to say before after your news, it just seems like that this year is going to be. We've got more tracks signed on in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's going to be. We're going to have a lot to talk about during the course of the year on the program.
Oh, absolutely! I'm going to have to get my speed talking mode going, and around the world in 80 seconds.
So Moulton Speedway decides to join us with the street stocks. I mean, that gives everybody, it's pretty central, isn't it, Moulton? I've never been to Moulton. So I'm not sure exactly where it is. Is it a pretty central located track here in Alabama?
Well,
that's crazy.
It's located up in northwest Alabama.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, up around the Coleman area up there. So south of Athens area. So it's not far from Muscle Shoals area. So it's a pretty good racing area, and they got a lot of street stock competitors up in that area. A lot of them go back and forth between Moulton and Magnolia Motor Speedway. So I think it's going to be a fine addition there because they'll have two places that they can go and run in certain weeks. And plus, Meridian is not that far, so they can swing over to Jackson. And if they really want to, do some traveling, they can jump on down to St. Tammany Raceway down there on the north shores of Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. So I think that it's a great addition, and I think that's just kind of a eastern movement for the series. I think it's going to expand. I think that maybe some of the tracks in Arkansas and Missouri will look at it, and some of the rest of the tracks in Mississippi. I think it's really going to grow into something big. I kind of look at it's going to grow just like the late model weekly racing series did for a number of years. So some good things going on there. And they had 22 cars, 22 street stocks at Why Not Saturday night. So these guys are geared up and ready to go.
Well, I think it doesn't matter what class you're in. You always want something more to race for. I mean, of course, you want to get somewhat of a payday, I guess. But I mean, if you can, it's like last year. Our weekly series had 450 competitors, and only one guy could take home the big bucks. Only one guy could take home the trophy. And I mean, it was every bit as exciting as our touring series, and every bit as exciting, if not more, than some of the bigger series out there in the late model world. So I think that this will give the street stock guys, I think once they see how it's going to be run, what kind of attention it's going to get, then I think you're going to see, hey, let's do this. This is going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, they work just as hard as the late model guys do, and sometimes even a little harder because, their parts are a little harder to come by a lot of times than the late model parts are. And, we've tried to work in the 602 engine and save them a little money under the hood. That's an optional engine that they can run with the street stock division. So that saves them a little time. They don't have to put so much emphasis on working on the engine and tuning it up because 602, just like 604 and the 525, is a sealed engine. They just got to, keep up with the valve lash and getting the valves adjusted and change the oil on them and keep the valve springs changed every once in a while, and they're in business. They don't have to do a lot of major work on the engine. And but these guys, they race hard. I mean, like you say, we've seen them when we've gone to the late model shows. And I was looking at that picture of the finish Saturday night at Why Not, and Metters and Nations were side by side at the checkered flag. Metters beat him by less than a half car length, and you could see the people in the grandstand in the back of the picture, and they were either on the edge of that seat or standing up. It had to have been exciting.
Oh, well, I'm sure we're going to run across several of the events this year. I think some of them will coincide with our touring shows, I would imagine, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to be part of those shows as well, and be a good chance for us to get some good video of them and get that up on the internet, and put a face with the name, and give these guys the publicity that they deserve. Because, like I say, they work just as hard as the late model guys do, and they race just as hard.
I'm going to have to get me an intern, I think. I'm going to need a couple extra pair of hands to help me out with all the but I mean, it's very exciting to put some more faces out there and give another group of cars and drivers something to shoot for. And the fun part about my job is, Roby, is shining the light on these guys. I love doing it. And I tell them thank you for joining up the show, and they usually email me thank you, or I'm like, no, dude, thank you. I said, you're part of the fabric of motorsports, so you're just as eligible as anybody else. We got our second guest on the line with us now, Evan Ellis. He was victorious over at the Black Ice of the Magnolia Motor Speedway. he parked his 73 Barry Wright race car into Victory Lane. Evan, welcome to the program, brother.
Man, thank you. Good to be on here.
Well, Evan, the drill is this. We want to know from the time you got the car off the trailer all the way to the checker flag. What did you have getting off the trailer, and when did you know you had the car to beat?
Well, I went out there to practice. It was pretty good. It got slick real fast, and the car it was real good. And I tightened up immediately, and then I watched some of the Super Late qualifying, and I just seen you got to take your time and slow down to go fast out there because it was very, very slick. So I just tightened up and put me 2 good laps together and qualified on the pole. And I knew the car was pretty good then, so just had to work on it and watch the track and seeing if it was going to rubber up or if they was going to water the track a little more to see what I needed to do for the feature.
Evan, what does it do to you as a racer? I mean, you watch that track come in, you watch them lay some rubber down on it, and you kind of get a mindset of what you got to do to your race car, and you get it all dialed in, and you're really hyped up because you know you got a car that's ready to go, and then here comes Stokes with the water truck. What does that do to your mindset then?
Well, it messes you up a little bit, but you just got to keep in the back of your head and think positive. And just go out there and race hard as you can. And in the daytime like that I knew the water wouldn't last long. I knew that the track would come back to it like it was. So I really wasn't too worried. But it will. It'll make you think twice about your setup.
Well, Evan, I know that you've run a lot of different cars through the year, and you're running that Barry Wright car now. What are some of the things that make the different race cars different from each other that fits to your style of racing? I know you were in a Track Star for quite a while, and then you went to the Barry Wright, and it just seems like there's an evolution among the chassis builders that 1 year a Rocket's the hot ticket, and then the Track Star came on strong, and the GRT's always been pretty consistent, and the Barry Wright cars have been coming on strong here in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know. The Barry Wright seems like you drive it more left instead of right. You just drive it like a normal vehicle. And coming from my background of go-kart racing, that's what you turn left, and it's just a good feeling. And I got hooked up with some guys, and the main thing is getting good information and good help on the setup and track information and changes to do to the car. And it's very responsive to the changes, and you don't have to make many major changes at all, just little tweaks here and there, and that's all you got to do.
Well, you've been fast at the mag in whatever you've been in. I think if you got out there with a wheelbarrow, you'd be fast around that place. Does that track just kind of set your driving style, or what is it about Magnolia that makes Evan Ellis get to the front?
I don't know. I guess it's because I like it because you got to be a little more patient, especially when you get slick. You got to be real easy on the throttle and stuff. I don't know. I've just always liked that track, and it's just my home track, and I've raced there more than anywhere else. I've just had a lot of good luck there, and I just like to get around that place.
Well, a few minutes ago, Rob and I were talking about the motors and how everybody knows they're sealed, blah blah blah. But you get to concentrate more on your setup. I mean, does that put your mind at ease, knowing when you go to the racetrack that you don't have to worry about the motor? You can spend all your time. And it seems to me that the setup and all the adjustments that your J bar makes, that your bars make on your bird cages. Is that something where you really need to spend more time anyway? So it's kind of probably a relief, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, definitely. You don't have to worry about somebody having more motor than you legally. You just get to concentrate more on how your car feels and giving your car what it wants.
And that's probably, it's probably a lot like go-kart racing. And you don't have to worry about motor too much there. It's more about setup and weight, isn't it? I'm not familiar with the go-karts.
Yeah, it's just more about setup, and it was mainly about tires. You could use chemicals in the go-kart racing, and that's mainly what it was about. and just set up, and you never really had to worry about motor. You had to worry about gear and stuff like that, but never engine troubles.
Well, Evan, what are your plans for 2013? Are you going to run for the Weekly Racing Series Championship? You're going to do some races with the Touring Division? What's on your plate for this year?
I'm not real sure of everything yet, but yeah, definitely I'm gonna race some of the touring events. I know I'm gonna make it down to Greenville and race that race in a month or so, and then just a lot of the local shows around Magnolia and Meridian and Jackson and such. I'm in school right now, so it's pretty hard on that, going back and forth. So just wherever I get a break, I'm going to be at the racetrack.
Where are you going to school at?
I go to Mississippi State University.
Bulldogs.
Yes,
Bulldogs,
sir.
huh? And what are you studying?
I am a mechanical engineering right now, trying to.
Now, that could probably come in to help your racing career a little bit.
It could. It definitely could.
I mean, is there anything that you've been able to take from that and apply to your racing career yet?
Not yet. I'm not real far into my degree yet. I took a semester off and worked at the shop with Dad, and then I just got back into school this semester, so I hadn't gotten real deep into it yet.
Well, I know that there's a lot of guys that are coming up through the ranks in racing, and they not only show up with a bunch of talent, but a lot of them do have degrees in mechanical engineering too that come to mind right off the top of my head that I've dealt with through the years. Or Joe Nemechek, he's got a degree in mechanical engineering, as does Ryan Newman, and I'm sure there's some more out there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but Ryan Newman went to that crazy Cal College, Purdue.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Hoosier. We don't talk about them Boilermakers. But Ryan Newman, yeah, he is has a degree in, astronauts and farmers. That's unbelievable. That's the mix at Purdue.
Yeah.
Either you're going to grow corn or you're going to go to outer space. Evan, we certainly appreciate you joining us here taking time out of your Tuesday evening, probably from your family and your studies, so we appreciate that. Before I let you get out of here, I want you to thank your sponsors on the race car and also thank any of the crew members that put that 73 in Victory Lane over the weekend.
I will, certainly. First and foremost, I got to thank my family. I couldn't do it without them and Dad and the Ellis welding business. And then I will thank AT&E, Ronnie Lee Hollingsworth. He's come on and he's helped us a lot since we got this Barry Wright. He's helped us a lot getting going. And Jeff Burns Racing Engines, Barry Wright Race Cars, of course. And Eric Symes, one of my buddies, he comes to the track and helps me a lot. And so does Jake English and Matt Bell.
All right. Well, Evan, hopefully we'll talk to you a few more times this year. So good luck in all your pursuits, especially the school that comes first. And maybe we'll see you at Victory Lane in one of the races over there in Mississippi.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Hope so. Hope to see you.
Evan Ellis.
We'll see him at the Rumble on the Gumbo at Greenville Speedway coming up on April the 12th and 13th. 2-day show, $5,000 to win, and he'll be one of the contenders there.
And I hate to beat the dead horse, but anytime that you talk Mississippi, you just got to talk about the wealth of talent that is there. It's unbelievable. Washington, Shaw, McDuffie, Palestini, the Jordan over that way, the guys over Greenville, just themselves are pretty tough.
You got them South Mississippi boys, too. You got Michael Arnold, Shannon Lee. You just go on
right.
And on.
And if you are listening from outside the area and you want to test your mettle, so to speak, come to Mississippi with your crate car and race it at Magnolia or Wynot or Greenville or down in Hattiesburg. You'll have a pretty good understanding of where you stand against some of the better guys in the country. Mississippi is at the top, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can go over to Jackson Motor Speedway. Neil Lee, he had a real good year last year over at Jackson Motor Speedway. So, I mean, it's just you can line up 24 guys in a feature event anywhere in Mississippi, and they're all capable of winning the race.
That's right. Well, we're going to continue with the program. We've got our next caller, Mr. Justin Tatlow. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but he's out of New York. He races up in the Rush Country, Rush Racing Series. Justin, welcome to the NeSmith Race Report, brother.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to be a part of it.
Well, you guys have go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at the radar on TV. It looks like you getting snowed on up there.
I'm on my way home from work, and I had to pull over, and it's certainly snowing. We're getting some late winter snow here right now.
You live close to where they have all that lake effect snow there around Syracuse?
No, we're more western New York. We're right off the lake, so we get it from Lake Erie. We're in ski country, what they call it. We have some ski resorts right around us, so we get a lot of snow. Yeah.
Well, we had snow of a different kind down here yesterday. We had hail from pea size to softball size all throughout the southeast.
Yeah, we had some freezing rain, and now it turned over to snow, so we're getting some more snow. But we need this to get out of here so we can get racing.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably hate to hear us talk about all this racing that's already going on here in the South. When's your first Rush Series race going to be up there?
The first Rush race will be the weekend of April 19th. We're going to start out at Roaring Knob, and then that Saturday we're going to Hagerstown, Maryland. Those are the first Touring Series races for us in this area.
Which we will have video coverage of those two. We will have video coverage of those two races, Roby and Justin, just so you know.
Great.
That's good. Hopefully we can make a good showing at those events then.
Well, Justin, we talked briefly today, but I'm a Yankee. I'm from Indiana, so I'm familiar, and as is Roby. He's a Northerner, and I'm gonna give you some advice. Move down here where we don't ever quit racing. You don't have snow and ice.
That's right. We had to head down there on vacation as a family just to get down to watch some racing at Ocala and Volusia this winter. Well, we use it as kind of a family vacation, and I can get my racing fixed to get me through the winter.
I hear you. So I talked to Mike Leone today. He tells me that you guys are a pretty strong supporter of Miss Vicky and what they're doing up there with the Rush organization. And you come from the street stocks and the modifieds?
Yeah, I started out in 2002, started racing street stocks, ran that for several years, won a championship in the division, and then we moved up to E-mods for a couple of years, and it just got too costly. The crates came about in the area and just have taken off. I've been running the crates the last 3 seasons. This will be my 4th year running them this year, and it just made racing a lot more affordable, and what Mike and Vicky have done up here in this area with the crates is just unbelievable. You go to a race and there's, 20 to 30 guys that have a legitimate shot at making the show and winning it from anywhere in the field.
What is the overall opinion? I mean, what are you hearing from competitors now having this Rush Series that's formed over the wintertime? How excited are they to have another option?
Very excited. Obviously with change, some people do not like change, and that, you're going to have those people who are firm to their beliefs and stick with one thing. But anyone in this area that's been around Mike and Vicky know that they, number one, have the racers in mind. They're doing whatever they can. They've come up with some great programs over the years. Their races are not just a race. It's it's a show for the fans and the drivers. It makes you feel like you really accomplished something just making the show. And then running well with the competition that there is, is a real boost for your confidence.
So you guys are how many years? You're 2-3 years into the late models. Is that what you told us?
Yeah, 3 years I ran, and this will be the 4th year. We started out last year attempting the touring series that Mike and Vicky had, and 5-6 races in, we were running the top 10 in points, and the scheduling with work and honestly the financial, we were not prepared for that last year. We had some changes with work schedules, making time, so we will be available to get to all the races, and had some sponsors step up and bettered our program, became a 2-car team towards the end of last year where we have the means to go ahead and make a legitimate shot at the championship with the Touring Series.
And you mentioned one thing I thought was interesting. You said that people are they stick to their guns up there, whatever. They're staunch believers in something. I mean, that's big block modified country. A little bit of sprint cars up there. Late models are relatively new in that area. Do you see it being the fastest growing class up there, whether it be crate late models or the super late models?
Absolutely. I mean, where the Rush is based out of more central Pennsylvania is, the dirt late models are growing. When you get guys touring like Chubb Frank, Ron Davies, bringing the sport and bringing that knowledge and the touring knowledge back to our area, it has grown. We did a mall show just this last weekend at a small local mall, and out of the 40 cars there, 10 of them were crate late models. The class is growing leaps and bounds, especially now with another option to run this. There's more people getting into it and, graduating from the stock division and the E-Mod into the crates.
How are the fans taken to it? Like Webb said, the big modified country, big sprint car country up there. How are the fans receiving the late models up in that area?
Oh, they love it. At a regional show, like I said, it is, not just a show. It's an event for the fans. All the spectators, they do a great job getting the fans involved, and there is a very good following that follows around the crate late models, following the Rush series and the series that Vicky's had in the past. We get a lot of people that casually will come up, and they're surprised by the size of the crate late models once they see them, and the late model in general, and they're used to seeing, the center sitter modified with no front end and things. They're really in awe by the size of the car.
Now, I want you to do your best job, and include yourself if you believe it's you, but who are the guys to beat in the inaugural Rush late model series? Give me a top 5.
You got to include Mike Pegger. He's in real good equipment and always strong. Chad Ruhlman will be tough. Ryan Montgomery, he's been down running with you guys. I feel that we have a legitimate shot at a top 5 run. We're a little bit behind, so we didn't get a chance to come down and run with you guys, where Montgomery's been down and he's used to the tires and ran on those. But I feel that we'll be quick with the learning curve.
Now, Roby, I love the confidence that guy says, "Oh, and of course me," and every race car driver should say that. But hey, Justin, something we've been talking about with all the Northeastern guys, and we're trying to get this idea. I think it's just me and Roby's secret
pipe dream.
It's our pipe dream. What would you think about a midsummer classic, North versus South, invitation only, Rush versus NeSmith, like in Kentucky or something? Would that be something you'd be excited about doing? Maybe next year or the year after?
Absolutely. I think that we're always out to prove, and the North versus South. I'm sure that they could promote that and make a big show. And we always, we think we have the best drivers in the area, and as I'm sure the South thinks they have the best drivers. So we'd like to prove it. I guarantee there would be a big following that would come to that, and we would certainly make every effort to be there and get that. Get the win and prove that the North, drivers are the best ones.
I say we do a Civil War reenactment in the infield. Just
there you go.
Get a couple regiments of the pretenders and have them out there right before the feature. Have a big bloody battle.
There you go.
Well, all right. Well, you guys, obviously, you said you're going to start April 19th and 20th. It's the Roaring Knob Hagerstown Swing for you guys. Starts the season up there. What you guys said last year, you were a little unprepared for some things. What have you guys done to get yourself more in position to make a solid run at the championship?
Like I said, we had a sponsor step up and help us to get a second car going. Now we have two cars. The time, we were not prepared with the time, the amount of traveling, the amount of maintenance that goes on, and we've added a crew member, that's given us a commitment to, to follow with us, and just the overall experience and knowing, going from one night to the next to maintenance the race car and get it ready to go out there and perform at its best.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your Tuesday evening to talk with us. Hey, spread that around about the All-Star race or whatever we're going to call it, Midsummer Classic. Me and Roby we're doing our best to get that off the ground. But before
blue
we get out
roofs
here,
and gray roofs.
Yeah, blue roofs and gray roofs. We got to do it. I think that has to happen.
It'd be huge.
And listen,
you guys could promote it. It'd be big.
I want to do it at Florence, and that way everybody can go see the Hall of Fame. We can all hang out for maybe 4th of July weekend or something, or do it Thursday and Friday. Let you guys go back and race on Saturday. But I think it'd be a huge event done properly. And we invite touring guys and weekly series guys, so not just the touring guys get to come. It's anybody's invited from. Hey, Roby, somebody said the other day we should have provisionals to that. I go, we'll write the rules later. We don't know if we can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Have a but anyway, before we let you get out here, I want you to thank some of those new sponsors that's come on board, and also thank the crew members that's getting that car ready for the first event here in about a month. Okay.
First off, I gotta thank Joyce and Louis Kratz. They own the whole operation. Without them and the support that they've given me, and offered me the ride 2 years ago, we certainly wouldn't be at this point. Norm Ungerman stepped up to help us to get the second car. He owns Ungerman Excavating and NeSmith Sand and Gravel. He stepped up huge to help us get that second car and really get into, the status where we can go ahead and go after this. We got DJ Butsy that helps us out. We have Brewster's Automotive. We have the new crew member is King Fab. He's helping us with our bodies, also with the setup on the car. We have Brandon with PSG Signs and Graphics helping to keep the car looking good. Can't forget to thank Tony, Teresa, and Jensen and all the guys down at TNT Race Cars for giving us such a great car. As far as the crew goes, it's all on a volunteer basis. It's family and friends. My uncle, he's been with me, been my crew chief ever since Street Stock days. He's always there to help me and guide me in the right direction and have the car ready for us. I got to thank Joe, Jason Okerland, and obviously can't forget to thank my wife for all the time that she allows me to put into this, and my kids for coming out and supporting us.
Justin, I don't know if there's an old saying up there, but I've learned an old saying here in the South that if Mama's not happy, ain't nobody happy. So always thank your wife.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's universal. North, south, east, or west. It doesn't matter.
Okay, good. That's right. Well, make sure, too, all year long we're going to be helping to promote the Rush Series drivers. So look forward to, if you park in Victory Lane, you just may find yourself back on the NeSmith Race Report. So good luck with the season coming up, and we wish you guys all luck. And tell your wife that I got my wife is just as understanding, but I'm still an idiot in her mind.
I think we all are in our eyes a little bit.
Yeah, you got to really love this sport. It could be called so many other things, but I guess racing is probably the one we can use on the radio.
Correct. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Okay, you be careful driving the rest of the way home in that snowstorm up there.
I will. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll talk to you a little bit later this season.
That's right. Justin Tatlow, he's a competitor in the Rush Racing Series, the brand new Rush Racing Series up there in the Northeast under the Crate Racing USA umbrella. Well,
hey,
yes, sir.
You know he's from New York and all that and racing in the Northern Series, but did you catch what kind of race car he's running? Coming from the hills of East Tennessee, Piney Flat, Tennessee, TNT race car.
That's right. Well, TNT also had the car up there with, I think the kid's name up that way was Bud Watson, the 100 car. I think that was, the only reason I know this is because it has an Old Man's Garage connection. He had Old Man's Garage equipment underneath it. Old Man's Garage on the side, and it was number 100. And wasn't that the house car? And what's the guy's name? Powers?
I'm not sure. What I know Jensen Ford runs the house car for his dad, Tony Ford.
Well,
they're good people up there. Tony, Teresa, Jensen Ford, good people.
Yep, that's right. Well, we're supposed to have another guest call, and it doesn't appear that Mr. Wayne Measure is going to. But Wayne was he was a victor at Why Not Motorsports Park in the Street Stock division. I'm excited about the Street Stock division because at one point we've all started at a racetrack, and that was the one track we worked at. And you always see the lower division guys that always seem like they don't get any kind of respect or anything. And this right here if you're a street stock guy anywhere that's close to one of our tracks, this is something you guys can get into. There's going to be points, championship to win. I mean, it's just it's something to be a part of. And they can use either the 602 or the 604, right, Roby?
They can use the 602.
602, okay. Just
602, and then the build engine rules that they have. Rules are up on our website in case you're interested at www.NeSmithRacing.com. On the Weekly Racing Series website, you can go to rules there and find the rules for the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. And you know, one thing that I'm interested in, really interested in talking to these street stock guys because, you know, you and I, we've been around these late models for so many years that it's like the street stocks have been there, but we really haven't paid that much attention to them. And I'm really interested to know and have one of these drivers explain to us just exactly what is a street stock. How is it built? What's it built out of? You know, what kind of suspension does it have? And I'm really interested, and I'm sure some of our listeners are interested in kind of getting a little knowledge on what these street stocks are all about and what it takes to make them go fast around the racetrack, because they put on one whale of a show.
Nick, I mean, I guess they're leaf spring cars, I guess. I mean, I'm not. Are they just a?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, a Chevy underbody. I mean, we'll have to find us. We'll find us an aficionado for next week's show, and we'll have them on to explain to us exactly what goes into the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock. Of course, the 602 we know. Well, Roby, we'll just go ahead and call it an evening here. I'd like to appreciate the fact that Montana Dudley takes time out of his evening. Evan Ellis, Justin Tatlow. Justin in the snow pulls over and talks to us. That's really great.
Yeah, you're on the side of the road too, aren't you?
No, I'm actually my.
Oh, that was last night.
Yeah, last night I had no power, no internet, and I had to drive. I started out in the driveway doing In the Dirt is what the show's called, and
you were literally in the dirt.
I was in the dirt, so I had to drive down the road. I had to find one more bar on the cell phone. And
on the cell phone.
Yeah, it was. Listen,
not that kind of bar.
Yeah. Oh, not that kind of bar. No. Yeah. Oh my. But no, I'd like to thank all the guys that come on: Montana Dudley, Evan Ellis, Justin Tatlow. We'll talk to Mr. Wayne Metter down the road, I'm sure. Any closing thoughts, Roby?
Well, just go out and support your local racetrack. Hattiesburg Motorsports Park going to be opening up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi this Friday night. Got Clay Hill Motorsports in Atwood, Tennessee. For those of you out in West Tennessee, go out and support them this Saturday night. Talladega Short Track will be in action this Saturday night. And Why Not Motorsports Park in Meridian, Mississippi. They got a big show, one of the biggest they've ever had there. I don't talk about the other series a lot, but I'm going to give a shout-out to Rodney Wing and them tonight. They're going to have the World Outlaw late models there with the NeSmith Chevrolet Weekly Racing Series late models presented by Old Man's Garage. If you have not ever seen our show there or any late model show at Why Not, you need to go to Why Not Motors. And I quote Michael Rigsby with DirtOnDirt.com. He says it's one of the top 5 tracks in the country. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. So with that, on behalf of the NeSmith Racing Series and Old Man's Garage, this is Wes Dillard and Roby Helm. We're out of here.